In a land ravaged by greed and destruction, one boy, kissed by nature and burdened by destiny, must face the darkness threatening his people. But could his courage and the forest whispers be enough to restore balance before it becomes too late? Once kissed by nature itself, his mother died the very day he was born. Because of this, people called him cursed and he was an outcast. His father was a royal but held great hatred in his heart, for his birth took his beloved wife to her grave. Mostly, he would sit by his mother's grave near the river and play his flute. He would sing for the birds, finding solace in the melodies and the gentle whispers of the forest. The boy's name was Obina. The villagers avoided him, whispering tales of bad luck whenever they saw him. He grew up lonely, with only the creatures of the forest as his friends. Despite the harshness of the people, nature embraced him. The animals seemed to understand his sorrow, and the trees provided him with shelter. Obina's father, King Aoto, never looked at him with affection. He blamed Obina for the death of his queen and could not bring himself to love his son. Obina, understanding his father's pain, never sought his approval. Instead, he found comfort in the natural world, where he felt a deep connection. One day, as Obina played his flute by the river, a strange thing happened. A massive green foot appeared beside him, blending with the foliage. Startled, Obina looked up and saw a giant towering over him, its skin resembling the bark of ancient trees, its eyes deep and wise like the forest itself. "Do not be afraid," the giant said in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "I am Yugo, the guardian of this forest. I have watched you, Obina, and I know your pain." Obina's heart pounded, but he did not feel fear. There was a calmness in the giant's presence. "Why do you watch over me?" he asked. "Because you are special," Yugo replied. "You are not cursed, Obina. You are blessed by nature. You have a gift, and it is time for you to know your destiny." Yugo explained that an ancient evil was threatening the land. A dark sorcerer named Madhu had awakened, seeking to destroy the kingdom and plunge it into eternal darkness. The only way to stop him was to find the heart of the forest, a powerful artifact hidden deep within the jungle. "You, Obina, are the chosen one," Yugo said. "Only you can find the heart of the forest and defeat Madhu. But first, you must warn your village. They must not perform any rituals that disrupt the balance of nature, for this will only strengthen Madhu's power." Obina returned to the village, his heart heavy with the knowledge of what was to come. He stood before the people, dressed in his simple clothes, and spoke with urgency. "Yugo, the guardian of the forest, has warned me. We must not disrupt the balance of nature. No rituals that harm the forest or its creatures." The villagers laughed at him, mocking his words. "Why should we listen to you, cursed boy?" they sneered. "You bring nothing but bad luck." Despite their ridicule, Obina pleaded with them. "Please, if you do not listen, terrible things will happen. Madhu will gain power, and we will all be in danger." The villagers ignored him, and the very next day, they held a grand festival with rituals that disrespected the natural world. They cut down trees, hunted animals recklessly, and polluted the river with their waste. Just as Obina had feared, a great flood swept through the village that night. The river, once calm and serene, raged with fury, destroying homes and sweeping away livestock. The villagers were terrified, but still, they did not listen to Obina. He went to the forest, seeking Yugo's guidance. "Please forgive them," Obina begged. "Tell me what I must do to save them." Yugo appeared, his expression stern but understanding. "The villagers have brought this upon themselves, Obina. But because of your pure heart, I will give them another chance. Tell them to restore what they have destroyed and respect the natural balance." Obina returned to the village and repeated Yugo's instructions. "We must restore what we have destroyed and respect the natural balance," he urged. "Only then will the flood cease." The villagers, still skeptical, mocked him again. It was just a coincidence, they said. Your warnings mean nothing. But as they continued to ignore Obina's words, another disaster struck. This time, a swarm of locusts descended upon the village, devouring the crops and leaving the people hungry and desperate. The villagers began to fear that perhaps Obina was right, but their pride prevented them from admitting it. Desperate, Obina went back to the forest. They still will not listen. Please help me make them understand, he pleaded. Hugo's voice was filled with sadness. Obina, you have done all you can. The villagers must now face the consequences of their actions. You must continue your journey to find the heart of the forest. Only then can true balance be restored. As Obina prepared to leave, the villagers, now driven to desperation and madness, turned on him. You are the cause of our suffering, they cried. We must get rid of you to save ourselves. They captured Obina and brought him to the village square, where they planned to execute him. As they raised their weapons, the sky darkened, and a mighty storm began to brew. Lightning flashed, and thunder roared. Hugo appeared, his form towering above the village. Fools, Hugo's voice boomed. Obina is your only hope. He is the chosen one, blessed by nature itself. Release him or face my wrath. Terrified, the villagers dropped their weapons and fell to their knees. Obina, shaken but determined, stood before them. I will find the heart of the forest and defeat Madu, he declared. But you must promise to respect the natural world and follow Hugo's guidance. The villagers, humbled and remorseful, swore to change their ways. With their promise, Obina set off on his journey once more, this time with the support of his people. He traveled through dense forest, across raging rivers, and over towering mountains. Along the way, he faced many dangers, wild beasts, treacherous paths, and dark magic. One day, as he walked through a particularly dense part of the jungle, he heard voices. Creeping closer, he saw a group of Madu's minions, dark and twisted creatures, planning to ambush him. Obina knew he had to act quickly. Using his flute, he played a melody that called the birds to his aid. The birds swooped down, distracting the creatures long enough for Obina to escape. As he continued his journey, Obina encountered many trials. He met wise animals who gave him advice, faced enchanted traps, and solved ancient riddles. Each challenge made him stronger and more determined. Finally, after many weeks, Obina reached the heart of the jungle. There, hidden in a grove of the oldest trees, he found the heart of the forest. It was a glowing crystal, pulsating with energy. Obina reached out to take it, but as soon as he touched it, he was transported to a dark place. Before him stood Madu, the dark sorcerer. His eyes glowed with malice, and his presence exuded evil. So, you are the one they sent to stop me, Madu sneered. A mere boy. I may be a boy, but I am not alone, Obina replied, gripping his staff tightly. Madu laughed, a cold, cruel sound. You think your tricks can defeat me? I will destroy you and take the heart of the forest for myself. With that, Madu attacked. Dark magic swirled around him, and shadows came to life. Obina played his flute, summoning the power of nature. The trees, the wind, and the animals responded to his call, joining the battle. The fight was fierce. Madu's dark magic clashed with the forces of nature. Obina used his staff to deflect spells and his flute to summon allies. The ground shook, and the air crackled with energy. In the midst of the battle, Obina remembered Hugo's words, "You are blessed by nature." He closed his eyes and focused, feeling the heartbeat of the forest within him. Obina drew on that power and unleashed a wave of pure natural energy. Madu screamed as the light engulfed him, dissolving his dark magic. The shadows vanished, and the desolate place was replaced by the serene grove. Obina stood victorious, holding the heart of the forest. Your courage has saved us all, Hugo's voice echoed in the grove. You have fulfilled your destiny, Obina. Obina returned to the village, the heart of the forest in his hands. The villagers who had once shunned him now looked at him with awe and gratitude. Even his father, King Aoto, stood before him with tears in his eyes. Obina, my son, the king said, his voice choked with emotion. I was wrong to blame you. You have saved us all. Please forgive me. Obina embraced his father, tears streaming down his face. I forgive you, father. From that day on, Obina was no longer seen as cursed. He was hailed as a hero, the savior of the land. The village prospered, and the bond between Obina and his father grew strong. Obina continued to play his flute by the river, but now his songs were filled with joy and hope. The birds still sang with him, and the forest whispered its secrets. He knew that as long as he had nature by his side, he could face any challenge. And so, the tale of Obina, the boy kissed by nature, became a legend. It was a story of courage, forgiveness, and the power of nature. It reminded everyone that even in the darkest times, there is always hope, and that true strength comes from within. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Thank you and bye for now.